If this job were easy, we'd have nothing to talk about. When you're looking for the cause of delivery challenges or failures or issues in teams, I want you to think of the 3 Ps. That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast. Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams. Hello, crew. Welcome back. Thank you, as always, for being listeners. Hope you're having a great week. Listen, I want to give you something to think about, something to contemplate that might help you address the root causes of issues or failures when dealing with teams. But before we dive into it, let's take a moment to remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources out there about what you need to do to be agile, but we focus on who you need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a truly unique and powerful force in this industry. Remember, guys, if this helps you, tell your friends. Okay, let's talk about the 3 Ps: permission, perfection, and past. If you think about it, these are generally the 3 big reasons. One of the 3 will be present whenever you're dealing with a team that's struggling to produce, that's struggling to move forward, that's struggling to sustain momentum, that is struggling to give their all, that's struggling to commit. See, so often we blame leadership, we blame management, we blame a lack of understanding about what Agile is and does. But really, all of those problems could be reflected back to hesitations in the minds of teams and team members. Let me be specific. The problem of permission is the problem that arises when people don't move or act because they're not sure that they're supposed to. This one's worth remembering because so often we blame leadership for not authorizing people, for not giving them the permission to lead, to move, to design, to create. Whatever it is our teams need to do, they don't feel like they can do it. Well, why stop with management or leadership? Why not take a good look in the mirror at team level, right down at the street level? Could we not claim permission? Could we not assume permission? Could we not seize permission? Because if we could get at least that, if we could get teams to agree that, okay, the worst that could happen is you go a week or 2 weeks in the wrong direction and we have to change course. But if we're not willing to take great risks, why would we be expecting great outcomes? Success won't visit you unless you're willing to take charge, take the lead, take the risk. So now as coaches, it's incumbent on us to help fix the permission problem by getting that recruitment from the leadership. And it's a simple question. It's simply a question of educating leadership, management, executive on what giving that permission actually looks like. It basically looks like this. I need you to back up your teams. If they make a call because you're not available or because we don't want to keep shoveling things up the chain just to wait for them to come back down again, you have to understand that there will be mistakes and that you will back the team up for having that courage, for making that decision, for taking that leadership. You can make them sign something, you can make them hold their hands up and pledge it, put their hands across their hearts, whatever you need to do, but it's up to us as coaches and leaders to make that transaction happen. If you can do that, you can pave the way for letting go of an aversion to taking risks because you remove permission from the equation. See, permission is not only built into the culture, it's built into our individual DNA. We were brought up to look to mom and dad, to look to teachers, to look to authority figures to tell us what it was okay to do versus not do. So it's got some deep roots in our psyche. Our job is to uproot it, shake off the dirt, and move forward. If you don't do that, I think you'll find that so often we backslide into the default behavior of saying, well, wait, I'll wait until the next meeting to check with the boss. I'll wait until the next steering committee meeting and make sure this is on the issue register. Well, what would happen if we took away the delay, the cost of the delay of all of those decisions, and repatriated them at the team level and said, I'm going to make the decision in the here and now so we can move forward, that could really change performance. So that's the first P. The next P is perfection. We all know this one. This is the one that comes from the belief that if it isn't perfect, I shouldn't release it. If I don't have all the answers, if I don't have everything lined up perfectly, if all of the elements aren't present, ready, reviewed, signed off on, then I can't move this forward. This one, again, rooted deep in our psyche, because we've been taught that anything worth doing is worth doing well. Ever hear that saying? Well, this one can cause a problem just as easily, and I know you've seen it. You have seen it when teams simply won't release something. Not only will they not release something, but they won't even start it. Procrastination is probably the biggest red flag that you're suffering from a perfection problem. This too is a function of education. This too requires the sign-off or the support of the people in leadership roles to say it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Done enough for us to look at it. Done enough for us to respond to it. Done enough to move the needle, to prove or disprove that whatever we're working on makes sense, it's viable. It's what customers want. But if we won't let it go until it's just so, we're going to have trouble. We're going to struggle with productivity. We're going to struggle with releasing finished increments of value to the marketplace. So this one can really hold you back. So look for this one too. When a client tells you that our teams are struggling, this is the second thing that you should be looking for. Are we holding ourselves up because we're waiting for perfection? You'll hear the words, not yet, just wait, just gotta check, gotta show it too, ... The word just is usually a clear indicator that someone's waiting for perfection before they roll. Look, when you think about it, so much of our work is ultimately disposable, changeable, and replaceable over time. A lot of the things that we build don't even last a year, much less 5. So if that's the case, waiting for perfection seems even more counterproductive and confusing. And the last P that you have to look for is the past. Also known as the way we have always done things. These roots may not run as deep. They may not go back to our childhood or education, but definitely within our working life, we have become accustomed to a certain way of doing things. We've been taught the rules, and some people really like rules. They depend on rules for a sense of certainty, for a sense of safety, for a sense of comfort. And we have to appreciate that, and you have to recognize you can't change that overnight. And if you do try to change it too quickly, you're going to encounter backlash. You're going to encounter what I call violent opposition. Not physically violent, but it's going to be loud, it's going to be noticeable, and it's going to be painful. One mistake we make as Agilists is to assume that we know a way, and because we know that way, it's better than whatever way you're clinging to. Other people aren't going to see it that way. They like what they had just fine. Introducing instability creates panic and mayhem. People want to know, what does this mean? What does it mean to my job? What does it mean to my ego, to my identity? You can't just introduce change and expect to not get a reaction. So the past is very powerful. And here, the blowback can come from any level. Within the teams, within the management, there will be sometimes people in positions of very great power who don't want to let go of the old way. And sometimes it comes down to a courageous conversation of saying, look, if you want change, if you want better results, you're going to have to let go of what we think we know about how to get them, because it's clearly not working for you, or I wouldn't be here. So it's time to let go of the reins. It's time to say that the way we have always done things, the things we've done in the past, even the results or the negative consequences that we have experienced in the past are just that. They're in the past. And what worked before, or what happened before, was perfect for that time. But for what we're trying to do today, we need a new approach. We need to focus on the future, or at the very least, on the present instead. Magnificent change comes from broad, bold brushstrokes. We need to take them, and we need to take them together. It doesn't make what you did in the past wrong. It just means that it may not fit for the kind of results and outcomes we're looking for today. So it's time to try and experiment. And hey, I'm here to protect you. I'm here to save you from the consequences of failure. Let me deal with the leaders. Let me deal with the blowback. And I'll tell you what, if it doesn't work in a sprint or two, we can roll back to the way we've always done things, or maybe we can try something else. And you can decide. But one thing I'm certain we can all agree on in this moment is that nothing lasts forever. Therefore, nothing works forever. We must change. It's our duty to adapt to the times. Think of what the word agile means. It means the ability to be nimble and to change rapidly, minimizing the consequences and the downside of rapid change while maximizing the benefits and the glory. That's what I'm here to help you do. Folks, I hope the 3 Ps help you contextualize and make sense of some of the problems you may be seeing in your team room and start helping you solve them. Let me know how it works for you. As always, you can reach out at badassagile.com or find me on Twitter at badass_agile, on Instagram at badassagile. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, stay badass.